Hello Internet! Thanks for coming and taking the time to look at Paper Sorcerer, a stylish, single-player turn-based RPG. The basic story behind Paper Sorcerer is that a renegade sorcerer is taking over the kingdom, so 4 heroes get together, defeat him, and seal him inside a magical book. So you play as that sorcerer, trying to escape from the magical book and regain your powers. I'm a lifelong gamer. I've been playing video games since 1983, starting with the Atari 2600, in addition to being an artist, and I've been working really hard over the past couple of years to improve my art, and Paper Sorcerer is pretty much the culmination of everything I've been working towards. Ever since I was a little kid, I've wanted to be a game developer. It's the only thing I've ever really aspired to, other than being a mad scientist, and I don't think the army of golden robots is going to happen anytime soon, so I'm going with the game developer thing. From a story standpoint, I thought the idea of playing as a villain who's already been defeated and exploring his motives for why he did what he did would make more of an intriguing story than the usual save the kingdom or escape from the prison scenarios. I started out simple with it. I kind of designed around what I would be able to do as one person. So it doesn't have a lot of really fancy ZBrush models or anything crazy like that. It's all primarily made of high-res 2D sprites that are hand-drawn by myself. Looking at older versions of the game, you'll notice that it started out with just a lot of gray blocks while still getting all the mechanics and stuff in place, and then I slowly worked more and more towards what you see in the game today. But one thing is that always from the beginning, it was always turn-based. I always set out to make a good strategic turn-based system. You gotta do what you love, and RPG is by far and away my favorite genre. One of my favorite parts in RPGs is putting together the party. So partly from that is what spawned the summoning system. The idea behind the summoning system is that the sorcerer is alone in there. So instead of forming a party like you usually do, as you go through the game you'll come across summoning circles. And at each summoning circle you'll be able to summon creatures that the sorcerer has captured throughout his career. And as you progress through the game you'll get to more and more powerful summoning circles, and then you'll be able to summon more and more powerful creatures as you go. But the summons scale to your level, so you don't have to worry about grinding them or having to maintain a similar level range for all your summons or anything like that. They're always at your level. And also, say if you like the Goblin Thief that you start with, you can use him throughout the whole game, because as the summons level up, they gain more and more unique skills and abilities, so that the earlier ones aren't necessarily worse than the later ones that you get. They're just different. Speaking of grinding, one of the things I wanted to do was eliminate as much as possible from a design standpoint the need to grind. For the most part, all of the encounters in the game are hand-placed and unique to that level. So it's not like you'll be walking through and fighting the same guys over and over and over again. There are some sections where enemies will respawn or where you might have random encounters, but those are also hand-placed in levels, and they're kind of few and far between. They aren't all the time. The thinking behind the hand-placed encounters is that, so instead of fighting lots and lots of really weak trash mobs, you'll have maybe 1 or 2 difficult encounters that really require strategic thinking. So that way you're not fighting the same thing over and over again. Another big part of the game are the adventure game elements. There's certain events in the game where you'll need to talk to someone the right way, or figure out how to get past obstacles and light environmental puzzle kind of elements that are inspired from older games such as Shadowgate. A note about the puzzles though. Speaking for myself, I really get stuck a lot on puzzles in adventure games. I really like the environmental interaction aspect of them though. So what I'm doing with Paper Sorcerer is that I'm making them very open-ended, so that there's multiple ways to solve each puzzle. So that you don't have to find the particular widget that spools the string, that calls the mouse, that gets the cheese, that gets the key from under the couch, and so on and so on. An example of this that's already implemented in the game is in one of the first rooms you come across. There is a locked chest in that room, and there's a couple different ways of being able to open the chest. One thing you can do is that you can pry it open with a dagger or short sword. This will open the chest, but you'll get a -1 bonus to that weapon from then on. 2, nearby there's a janitor's closet. And in the janitor's closet you can mix together some solvents and chemicals and make a flask of acid. Now this flask of acid can also be used as an item in combat to cause damage, but you can use the flask of acid to dissolve the lock and open up the chest. Or the third way is to simply force it open with magical power. This has a chance of causing the contents of the chest to explode in your face, but you'll be able to get access to all the things if everything goes smoothly. By doing things like this, I intend to keep the fun environmental interaction and figuring things out logically aspect of puzzles, but leaving behind the whole, I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to try every action and item in my inventory on this thing kind of aspect of puzzles. So the status of the game right now is that I have the basic framework for everything in place. All of the status effects, spells, skills, all those things work, all the stats work and are balanced with each other. The menus and UI are all in place, if a little rough. The battle system is there and flows nicely. All the adventure game elements are in place and function. The ability to use items on the environment is in there. However, at this point, everything is still very rough. There are some minor presentation and usability issues with the UI that need to be ironed out, in addition to just overall more polish. What the game needs right now is more levels, more tile sets, more enemies, more skills, more spells, an intro, a tutorial sequence, just basically more of everything. If you decide to pledge to this project, your money will go towards getting test devices so I can release it right away for Android and iOS, developer licenses, art supplies, since the majority of the game's art is traditional with pen and ink, fees and taxes needed for setting up a small business, and other miscellaneous development costs. So thanks everyone for taking the time to look at this. Even if you don't pledge, I still appreciate your interest and hope that you pass the word along. And I'd also like to say thank you to all my friends and family for supporting me in this endeavor.